Okay, so again, welcome everyone to our first of our series, our maternal health series. And our first session is again about optimal nutrition and supplements during pregnancy. Okay, and so I cannot see anyone while I'm sharing my screen. So if you have anything to say, feel free to just come off of your mic and ask the question. Is that okay?
Yep.
Someone's got to tell me. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so optimal nutrition and supplements during pregnancy. So first and foremost, a lot of what you receive when you go to the doctor is a lot of information about baby's health and your health. Some hospitals unfortunately give a lot of preconceived notions about what health is, and a very little information of what health actually looks like sometimes. And so from a naturopathic standpoint and from a holistic standpoint, we believe that nutrition is your number one thing when it comes to your health overall. So pregnancy is not any different than your everyday life. Pregnancy is not a sickness. It's not an emergency. It's not anything negative, right? Pregnancy is a bodily function that your reproductive system has the capability to do. And so holding a pregnancy, having a healthy pregnancy and giving birth to your baby naturally without too many, or if any at all, inductions or any type of interventions from the medical system is possible and has been possible since the beginning of time. And what gives you that opportunity and ability to do that is being mindful of your nutrition. And when we're going to add supplements during pregnancy. So a lot of pregnancy information out there just says, take your prenatal vitamins, right? So when you listen to pregnancy professionals, they say, well, start taking prenatals if you're trying to conceive, and take prenatals during pregnancy. And so the push on prenatals comes from, and before we even get started, I'm just going to say that push for prenatals has a lot to do with this push that we have in the pharmaceutical industry that believes that people would rather take a pill to solve their issue, right, than trust them to make a better eating choice or life change habits, to prioritize their health during the time that they need to do so. So prenatal vitamins are good. However, there are some benefits and there are some difficulties around certain prenatals, specifically the ones that hospitals give tend to not have for one, it's like a whole lot, right? Usually they give you little packages that has like 5 or so vitamins in there. And oftentimes because of the lack of balance when it comes to prenatal vitamins, it can cause birthers to have constipation because they give you an iron supplement. But in order for your body to process iron, you also need vitamin K and vitamin C. So there's a lack of balance when it comes to taking all of these supplements that are separate, taking pieces of the nutrients that your body needs instead of giving it the whole thing. And your body knows what it needs. So that's the thing I want to lead with as we go into today's workshop. So here's a quick index of what we're going to talk about. We're just going to do a quick introduction, talk about why all this information is important, the nutrients that we're going to talk about, what you might want to avoid, what to embrace. There's going to be a short video that's actually really adorable. We're going to have a this or that quiz and discussion, talk about omega fatty acids, which is very key nutrients that we need, that your body needs. key nutrients such as calcium, vitamin B12, talking about meal planning. We'll have a discussion about that. What meals are you eating right now in pregnancy? What things might you want to add after we have this discussion? Recipes that are being shared, supplements that might be great, closing, and then we'll open up for Q&A. Right. So as I just mentioned, that about nutrition and why nutrition and certain supplement is key. Here you can read that proper nutrition and supplements intake during pregnancy are essential for a healthy development of the fetus and the well-being of the mother. During this presentation, we will discuss the key nutrients and supplements needed during pregnancy, as well as recommended daily intake and food sources. All right. So why is this important? Why are we talking about nutrition? Nutrition is the #1 building block for any one person's well-being, for any community's well-being. A lack of nutrition, or what we call malnutrition, is actually the main culprit and cause of preterm labor, of ill health, of issues with during the pregnancy, labor and birth, issues with the baby having low weight, right? So all of these things has to do with a lack of good nutrition. A healthy diet from the mother and her environment play key factors to this problem, right? So when you think about it, when people say, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a global Black and Brown perspective, primarily in the West, but also speaking from the experience of being here in Ghana, but in general, right? Or not just Ghana, but throughout this, throughout Africa, throughout the world. Okay, so the biggest factor that we know growing up in the West is malnutrition. People don't realize that malnutrition is a problem, but malnutrition is key to why Black mothers have preterm labor. Black babies tend to be born with low birth rate. There's a lot of malnutrition that isn't spoken about because people think that because they're eating every day, that they're getting nutrients. And eating, it does not equate to nutrients because it has to do with the types of food that you're intaking. So if you grow up in the hood, you grow up in, maybe a rural area or an urban area, that has very little access to fresh produce, or that you grow up and there's, it's more convenient to go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever you are, eating out often, eating pizza, eating whatever, but eating these things on a daily basis instead of just giving to yourself every once in a while, eating ice cream and all these other things that we eat in the West, right? All of this contributes to malnutrition. So you could be putting on the weight that you're supposed to put on. And doctors will tell moms, oh, you can eat whatever you want. The baby takes what it needs. So go ahead and eat what you want. You can get them into all those cravings because they're not really caring, or they're not even taught to care about nutrition in this way. And so leaning into just prioritizing prenatal vitamins as though it's the end all be all and it's going to give the mom and the baby everything that they need is actually a detrimental, to a lot of us, right? And it does contribute to the disparities that we see. So having a well-rounded diet, having well-rounded foods in your system, and having greens and having fresh fruits and vegetables, and also the quality of these things is very important. It is key. So when I talk about communities that, yes, maybe you might have access to a grocery store, but if the quality of food in this grocery store, so in the West, when we have Walmarts, right? You have Walmart, you could go get all the produce that you want from Walmart. However, if anybody shops at Walmart, the one thing that I noticed about Walmart is that you could have Walmart vegetables in your fridge and they will not go bad very fast. And some people say, well, yeah, I like shopping at Walmart because my food lasts longer. Fresh produce should go bad. you should be eating those things quick enough to where it might go bad within a week or so. If you're eating food that doesn't decompose after a period of time, after about a week or so, then the quality of that food has been manipulated to last longer. And that we're seeing is causing an added detriment, an added issue to malnutrition that we're having at a global level. So those are things that we don't consider. And even when they say something is organic, just because something is organic in the West, just because something is organic doesn't mean that it's not genetically modified. So while something might be organic, it might be modified to have a longer shelf life, and those things are contributing to ill health. So when we talk about a healthy diet, it can prevent birth defects and developmental delays in the baby. Those are the things we're talking about, because when someone says, well, Black babies tend to have low birth weight, a lot of that has to do with malnutrition. Black babies tend to be born with this or this, right? There's all these stigmas put out. Black women, Black mothers have high rates of gestational diabetes or predisposed to preeclampsia. All of these things and these words that get thrown around as though these are just, yeah, if you're Black, this is what's going to happen. There's nothing to prevent this. That is absolutely not true. And unfortunately, in the West, the hospital systems actually believe that this is not preventable. So they don't do a lot of education around how Black mothers can prevent these things and Black families can prevent these things from happening, and primarily around caring for what goes into your body. Now, I wouldn't say that means that you can't indulge in your craving every once in a while. I don't see anything wrong with once a week giving yourself what you want, having a cup of coffee sometimes, not every day, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. They say that you can intake 200 milligrams of caffeine every day. I think that's still quite high. I don't think we need to drink that much coffee every single day in general, but especially during pregnancy. We're finding that intaking high amounts of caffeine actually contribute to higher blood pressure in Black women, right? And so we have to be mindful about what Google is telling us that is healthy for women to take in when we think about how food and drinks and all of that and the environment that we live in actually contribute to our genetic makeup. And so I will say, if you like coffee or you like tea that has higher amounts of caffeine, drinking once or twice a week instead of every day. Right? Or, they say you can have 1 cup every day. I think that's too much. They even say you can have 1 glass of red wine every day. I think that's too much. I think that's too much. I will say, if you really need a glass of red wine sometimes, have it once out. If you want to have it once a week, sure, have it once a week. Doctors tell moms that they can have a glass a day. I do still think that's quite a bit, especially when we're trying to prevent any issues on the forefront. Another added thing that I want to say here before moving on is that it benefits doctors, no matter where you are, to not tell you about good nutrition. It benefits them because at the end of the day, they don't believe in the physiological aspect of birth. At the end of the day, doctors are banking on benefiting from having to offer inductions or having to offer life-saving things, right? Interventions in your pregnancy, having to offer, having to do emergency cesareans, right? They bank on that, literally. They take it to the bank. So at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit them to empower you and to inform you about how easy it is to choose to have good health and what things you can actually prevent in order to do so, and also increase in order to do so. So when it comes to nutrients is the thing that we're fighting for. When we talk about prenatal vitamins. We're talking really about what are the vital nutrients that the mom is being, or the birthing person, mom or birthing person is being depleted in order to hold their baby. So we talk about folic acid, and they say folic acid is something that you need, and it's not just the folic acid, but the folates, right? So folates is often what they say, but the folic acid and folates come from green leafy vegetables. So eating spinach, as they say, all greens and leafy vegetables are really good and high in folates, not just folic acid. So those are the things we're looking for, but also lots of green leaf and vegetables, spinach, they like to put out there. Of course, kale, and honestly, spinach, kale, moringa, and I'll add blackstrap molasses has all of these things in the one time you eat it. You can have everything that you have here. So whether you're eating a salad or taking a green juice or taking a chlorophyll supplement, something like that will give you all of these things: folic acid or folates, iron, potassium, and magnesium, along with calcium. Your body needs these things in order to sustain you, not just your baby, because your baby's going to take all this stuff from you. So your body needs to be replenished of all these things, especially iron. Iron is the life force, right? So iron in women it already tends to be lower, because women, before even giving birth, women have their cycles. So because of our iron levels naturally already being depleted, it tends to have the cause of, higher rates of anemia, lower, the word I'm looking for is not hydrogen. I'll come back to the word that I'm looking for, but lower levels of iron, but there's another word I'm looking for. So the lower levels are because our body's already releasing all these things. So in pregnancy, all those things are going to the baby. So you have to still continue to increase those things. However, iron supplements, the things that they give you when they say, oh, your vitamin D is low or your iron level is low, let me give you an iron supplement. Those things tend to cause constipation. I don't know if anybody's raising their hand or anybody's experienced it, but a lot of it has to do with the iron supplements. And the reason why is because when you take in natural forms of iron, your body actually needs to take in iron and vitamin K, which is the potassium, iron, vitamin K, and vitamin C in order for your body to utilize the iron properly. And so because the supplement is just taking this this limited, it's just what is essential, right? It's like the essential oil. So it's taking the essence of it, and it's not taking the whole thing into consideration of how all of these vitamins and nutrients have to work together in order to give your body what it needs in order to process all of these things. So again, when it comes to nutrients, these are very key nutrients to consider. And you can take these in supplement form. So I'm not telling you you shouldn't, but taking them in their natural state will give your body optimal benefits. So again, spinach, kale, chlorophyll, spirulina, moringa. Moringa is it has everything in here. Taking 2 tablespoons of moringa a day. You can either take 2 to 4 tablespoons of moringa a day. And if you have capsules, that's like 4 capsules, 3 to 4 capsules a day. Taking 200 milligrams of moringa will give you all of these things that you need. And if you want to know more about moringa, we'll talk about it. But moringa, whatever, and blackstrap molasses. So blackstrap molasses, for those that might be new information, is it comes from cane sugar. So it comes from the sugar cane, and the way that they process the sugar from it, it is the processed part that they pull out. It's all the great nutrients that comes from the sugar cane. So it gives you energy, it increases your iron, it helps with anemia, it helps with cramps. So during your cycle or even during pregnancy, the round ligament pain or the uterine cramping and contractions, anything like that, blackstrap molasses tea, which I love, is a #1 thing. And finally, and in the tea, you could do blackstrap molasses with like a tablespoon or two with a milk of choice. So like I like to use like a nut milk or oat milk, and you can add something like agave or maple syrup to sweeten it, because blackstrap molasses is a bit very bitter, right? So then you can sweeten it with that. You can add other things to it if you'd like. You can add moringa to that. You can add whatever else you'd like to add. You can add some cinnamon, something nice, right? And drinking that, it is so nice. And I call that my Iron Mama tea. That's what I call that. So it's really great. And finally, sea moss. So sea moss is another great nutrient dense supplement that you can take in your food, and it will give you 92 to 98 of the vital nutrients that your body needs. So again, I like to add supplement in nutrition instead of just simply taking it in pill form, because it allows your body to really bring in all the extra good stuff that it needs. Does anybody have any questions before I move on?
I got a question.
Sure.
I've seen mixed reviews on because some of the sea moss has the burdock root, and I forgot what the other one was, but that it was mixed reviews on whether the burdock root and the other one was safe for women and for pregnant women, and that it's just best to take the sea moss that doesn't have the 2 extras.
Yeah, so I would say simple is safe. So if you can find sea moss that's done for you, or you can either get the sea moss yourself and blend it and do it your own, right? Or you can just get the sea moss without the burdock root in it. Burdock root is it's really good for anemia as well. But because people don't know a lot about nutrition, to be honest, they don't know a lot of nutrition, then they would tell you to stay away from it. However, I have never heard burdock root being problematic for pregnant women at all. And I don't see, so for me, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it, but I will say that if it's not something that your body's used to taking in general, lean with just getting the fresh sea moss without anything added.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions before we move on?
I've got a quick one. Do you know anywhere in Ghana that I could get some sea moss? So I've already seen it. Yeah, I've seen it obviously in London, but it'd be easier if I could get it here.
Yeah, Dr. Akua sells sea moss. That's where I get mine from.
Okay.
Yeah, she sells the purple sea moss.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so I mentioned a bit about foods that you might want to avoid or not take a lot of. And so we'll just go over this briefly, but we can go over in depth if need be. But I'll just mention why these things aren't so great, right? So raw or undercooked meats, poultry, fish, and seafood. Now, my caveat to not taking in raw or undercooked meats, poultry, fish, or seafood is that it very much depends on your culture context. in the context of people from Asian or Pacific islands, right? They tend to eat a lot of, they still might eat sushi. They still might eat raw or undercooked meat or eggs, right? And they will do that throughout their pregnancy. But that is because for their culture context, their bodies are conditioned to be able to process those foods. Their mothers did it before them, their mothers did it before them. So I like to say that if it's not from your culture, then maybe stay away from it. And even in Africa, there are cultures like the Maasai and other cultures in Eastern Africa who eat raw meat. There are people there are Eskimo people in Alaska who eat raw meat, and they do these things throughout their pregnancy. So from our context, staying away from these things are important. But I would never tell someone who from their cultural context, this is the norm, to not do that. That's my caveat on that. But in general, sure, stay away from raw undercooked meats, poultry, fish, and seafood in general. That's a good one. Staying away, avoiding as much as possible alcohol, caffeine, and tobacco products. Tobacco, sure, 100%. There is absolutely really no need for your body to intake tobacco or tobacco products while pregnant. Tobacco contributes to low birth weight, and it also contributes to high blood pressure because it interacts with your circulation. And so if someone is a smoker previous to pregnancy, it's really good to stop while pregnant. However, we all know that back in the 50s and 60s and stuff, people were smoking throughout their pregnancy. So, again, the more you know, right? Alcohol is another one that from a cultural context, some people drink throughout their pregnancy. I remember when I first saw a European pregnant, and she was big pregnant, y'all. She was she was big pregnant, and I worked in a restaurant, and she ordered a beer, and I was like, and somebody was like, yeah, in Europe, they drink alcohol during their pregnancy because it's a part of their culture. She was like Italian or something, right? And so that was very new to me at the time, but over time, I've learned that some cultures drink alcohol like water. And so again, I would say that depending on your environment, I would stay away from hard liquor. When it comes to alcohol, staying away from hard liquor, that is just not good for like your liver and kidneys, which are already being overworked as it is. And again, alcohol can not only cause dysformities and issues with the baby, like such as fetal alcohol syndrome, especially in the first trimester, but also low birth rate and all of these things. So if you absolutely need a drink, again, having a cider with like 5% alcohol, or having a glass of wine, about 4 ounces or less of wine every once in a while in your pregnancy is absolutely fine. But primarily you kind of want to lean towards, decreasing that in general. Caffeine, they say that you can take about 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day. But if you're in the West and you're drinking a venti Starbucks, that's too much caffeine, okay? So just kind of limiting that, and again, maybe once or twice a week instead of every day, if that's something that you're used to taking in, and also decreasing the amount of sodas or pops, Cokes, things like that, in order for you to just like not have so much caffeine and sugar in your system. With processed foods, as much as possible, like just kind of, stay away from them as much as possible, just because processed foods don't have a large nutritional value. And so we're really trying to go for the highest amount of nutrition as possible. So having pizza once a week or whatever instead of every day is cool. Avoiding things like McDonald's as much as possible, but some people say they crave McDonald's fries or something, but these things just don't have high nutritional value. So what you want to lean towards is throughout your daily life in general, eating real food with higher nutritional values. That's it. That's going to be your key thing. And the more things that it has, if it has a label and you break it down to all these different things in the food, then those are the things that you want to limit as much as possible. Doesn't mean you have to eliminate it altogether unless that's something you desire to do, but limiting it is it's doable. You could do anything for a short period of time in pregnancy. Though it seems long on a day-to-day basis, it's just this one moment in your life for that while you have it. And then when you're not pregnant, eat the food you want. But honestly, the lifestyle changes is quite worth it. And then fish with high mercury. So fish with high mercury tends to be bottom feeder fish, right? And so eating fish, the more high fatty fishes, such as like salmon and mackerel and all of that, are better for you than the fish that tend to have like, I would say more like seafood. So like lots of fish and not fish, I'm sorry, lots of like shrimp, eating lots of shrimp, or if you're from the South, crawfish, like those things tend to have a lot of higher amounts of mercury, things that kind of are bottom feeders, as they say. So eating more like freshwater fish is better for you in that way. Any questions about that? And again, giving into some cravings is totally fine, but choose the healthier choice in your cravings. That's what I would say. So if you really want some ice cream, it's okay. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But you see a lot of images out there that are just like promoting that women have these uncontrollable cravings every single day in their pregnancy. And that's absolutely not true, I don't think. And if that is true for you or anybody that you know, then it has way more to do than their pregnancy. It has more to do with their own stuff, because you don't have to eat, honestly, craving like more fresh fruits and stuff like that, or even more meat, like, fresh, chicken or steaks or something. Those tend to be a bit more normal, I do find, especially women who are pregnant with boys tend to crave more meat. That's what they say, at least. I don't know if that's true. Y'all can tell me. But women who are pregnant with boys tend to crave more meat, and they say women pregnant with girls tend to crave more fresh fruits and like vegetables and stuff. But I don't know if anybody can say, yeah, that's true or not. It's fine.
I think it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and so what would you want to eat lots and lots of is fresh fruits and vegetables, of course. But when we say this, we also want to eat quality fruits and vegetables. So here in Ghana, we really don't have as much concern that way, but I do find when I go back to the US, I get a lot of anxiety grocery shopping, because then you have to really be like, for one, buying quality food is so expensive, and so I do understand that could be a difficult part, that finding good quality foods can tend to be higher. But I will say that if you are in the States and you qualify for things like WIC and all of that, then WIC food stamps, you can use WIC and well, you can use WIC at some places, but you can use food stamps at places like Trader Joe's, I think even Whole Foods maybe. And so just even going to places that I think you can use food stamps at Whole Foods. I'm almost certain you can. And so even if you get food stamps or something, you tend to go to those other places to get more quality, fresh produce and foods. Whole grains. So I do love quinoa, but some people don't. So I'm not gonna push quinoa on you, but quinoa is delicious. Quinoa, brown rice, whole wheat bread. If you're going to eat bread, just being mindful that your food is just well-rounded and the least processed as much as possible. So white rice, breads, sugars are highly processed in order for them to be white, because all of those things started out brown. So that's really the thing. So in order for them to get it to that color, they've been bleached and they get really highly processed. So sticking to things that still have some pigment in them is a good choice to make. So legumes and beans, always a great choice, especially for protein and fiber, because that's what your body needs in order for you to not be constipated, because that's what we're going for. So and I say that because pregnancy just be adding constipation, don't it? And a lot of that is because of the hormones. So you can't prevent the hormones. So the best thing to do is to make sure that the food that you intake has a lot of nutrients, and your body will eliminate that. So beans such as black-eyed peas, that's what we eat a lot here. Black beans, red beans, all of those things are really, really great. Green beans, really great for you to have throughout your pregnancy. And also lentils, so that's a legume, right? So legumes are lentils and all of that. So just having those things in your diet, really, really nice. If you love Indian food, going to get you some, what they call that? Some with a C. I can't think of the word, but Indians use a lot of lentils in their food. But anyway, and then of course chickpeas. So those are really great high protein foods that you can have. Nuts and seeds, again, high in protein. So things like chia seeds, absolutely love chia seeds. Adding chia seeds to your diet, if you do smoothies or anything like that, adding chia. If you do like parfaits or eat yogurt or anything, eat oatmeal, chia seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin, and what's another one that I absolutely love? I think those are the best ones. Walnuts, amazing. Cashews, nut butters, all of these things that I'm mentioning. Eat those things as much as possible, and mix them with your food. So if you want to have like some mixed nuts, or I like to put like butters in my smoothies or in some oatmeal, just keeping lots of good nutrient dense foods in your diet. And then fish and chicken. So fish and chicken are good for you, of course, you know, if you eat meat. If you don't eat meat, that's totally fine. Increase your oyster mushrooms or anything like that would be nice. So as somebody who was once vegan, I was vegan for 5 years. So I do eat a lot of vegan food, but I also now eat fish and chicken. And so just keeping things simple when you need to, and then also diversifying things when you need to, are very key. So if you don't eat, excuse me, y'all, if you don't eat meat, but you're craving meat, like I said, they do say that when you're pregnant with a boy, more often you tend to crave more meat. That's okay. It's okay to do that if that's what you're craving, as long as you're choosing a better quality, such as like maybe grilled or baked as much as possible. But having some fried chicken here and there, it ain't gonna hurt you either, so don't worry. All right, any questions before we watch the video?
No, nothing from me.
Hello, Norms. Good morning. How are you feeling? Being pregnant for the first time is a big adjustment.
Oh, Norms, you know how much I love to cook? Well, lately the smell of meat and spices makes me feel so sick. I had to stop making my favorite dish, mincemeat fat cook. Sometimes the only thing I can stomach is plain chips.
Shh, don't be alarmed. That's normal. During the first trimester, your body goes through many changes that can cause nausea, vomiting, and new food cravings. The important thing is to make sure you're getting enough nutrients to stay healthy and help your baby grow. You won't get many nutrients from chips.
So I can't just eat what my body is craving.
While you're pregnant, and later while you're breastfeeding, all your baby's nutrition comes from you. Eating a variety of healthy foods will give your baby the specific nutrients that help each part of the body to grow and develop properly.
I know I should eat better, but it's hard because I get really nauseous sometimes.
Eating smaller meals throughout the day can actually help to prevent nausea. But try to eat at least 3 meals a day, plus a snack, especially if you're vomiting. We want to be careful that you're eating enough nutritious food and maintaining a healthy weight. That's why we check regularly if you're underweight. It's also important to drink water whenever you are thirsty.
But how do I know which foods are better for me and my baby?
I'm glad you asked. Colorful fruits and vegetables like mango, melon, carrots, pumpkin, and spinach have important vitamins, so try to eat plenty of them. Also include some starchy foods like rice, pasta, bread, and mealie meal. And don't forget protein-rich foods like eggs, meat, chicken, beans, soya, or lentils. I know some of these healthy foods may not be appealing right now, so do your best. Fatty, fried, and salty foods do not have the nutrients that you and your baby need.
So if I do all that, do I still need to take the supplements I got from the clinic?
Yes, your body is working extra hard to grow your baby, and the supplements ensure your baby has everything she needs.
Okay, I can do this. I'm just sad that I can't make my special mincemeat fat cook anymore. Ever since I was a girl, I loved making fat cook with my gogo. I was even hoping I could start my own business and sell them.
You will be able to do that again soon. But in the meantime, why don't you try using new ingredients? You've always been creative in the kitchen. Just make sure to start by washing your hands with soap and clean water. Wash raw fruits and vegetables in clean water before eating them. Cook meat, eggs, and fish until they are well done. This prevents you from getting sick with bacteria or worms that will take away the nutrients you and your baby need.
Thank you, Nomsa. This will be a good challenge for me. Nomsa, it's good to see you again. Thank you for all your support and regular visits. I've been creating new recipes using the healthy food we talked about. They are even better than the mincemeat. I even have orders from neighbors who want to buy them. Try this.
Kanisa, this is delicious. Your baby's lucky to have such a healthy and creative mama.
Well, that was just adorable. Okay, let me get back. All right, so as you saw there, she mentioned a lot of great highly nutritious foods that women and pregnant folks can eat. And if you notice, there's lots of greens and yellow, right? So the yellow foods are rich in beta carotene. And so those are really great for the development of like your hair, skin, and nails, and eyes, and all of that. And so each vegetable and fruit and all of that nature gives us has its benefits in the development of our babies and also of ourselves. And so that's why we just say go to as close to nature as possible when it comes to the things that you eat. All right, so we are about to have a quiz. No, yeah. Okay, so I'm sure you guys are going to do fine with this. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. But before we get started, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope.
Y'all good?
Yes.
All right. After we take this quiz, we'll take a quick break and then so if anybody has to go to the potty. All right. So this or that. So it's quiz, but it's also a game. So it'll be simple. All right. So this or that. Eat a balanced diet or simply take prenatal vitamins.
Eat a balanced diet.
Everybody agree with that? All right. Eating a balanced diet. That's everybody's good on that. So eating a balanced diet. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. And so number 2, drink tap water or drink filter water. Doom, 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 doom. Anybody?
Well, in Ghana, I drink filtered water, so we drink bottled water here because the tap water is not ideal to drink. Yeah, so
So tap water nowhere. So drink filtered water. We're here. Yes. Ding, 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 ding. And 3, eat fish higher in mercury or eat fish low in mercury. And give me a fish option that we can eat.
okay, so eat fish lower in mercury. And from what I remember, not the bottom feeders. So you want the other fatty type of fish. I mean, with like good oils in there. I can't think of one right now. But yeah.
Okay. Anybody want to give us a fish?
A fish low in mercury,
Yeah.
like shrimp or crawfish.
No, those are high in mercury.
Wait. Salmon or mackerel. There we go.
Tuna's a good one. Yeah, tuna's good. Did you say tuna? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so salmon's good. Yeah, salmon's good, but the lower ones, yeah, so let's stay away from those as much as possible. As much as possible. Sometimes it's okay. All right, now 4, consume processed foods or consume whole foods.
Whole process.
Whole process, both of them at the same time. It's actually still on. I can't see y'all.
Yeah, shows that she's still here.
Did Janae come in?
Not yet. I can't see her.
All right, so 5, folic acid or iron supplements. And here I want to say folates or iron supplements. Somebody can
Wait.
say, we can say.
Is this or that, or is there another option?
That's a good one. You can choose a different option. What would be a good option?
I think you were saying that ideally you eat fruits that are, I mean, not fruits, you eat foods that are high in folates. I think you said moringa and spinach and those kind of things, but still take the prenatal vitamins if they're prescribed to you, but try and get it from your food as much as possible. Is what I got from.
Yes, exactly. And so honestly, it's a mixture of not leaning towards the physical supplement, but taking all that in your foods. So so folic acid is in the food, the iron supplements. So in this or that, folic acid would be the better choice.
Okay, because you get everything in there.
Yeah, but in holistically, you would take like higher foods that are green leafy vegetables or things like moringa, like we mentioned, moringa, sea moss, all of that.
Yeah.
So good one to question. Like, is it to go? So 6, whole fruits or fruit juices. And by this, we mean like not fresh fruit juices.
Whole fruits then.
All right, good,
Yeah.
good. And drink coffee or drink herbal tea.
Herbal tea, but coffee sometimes. I'm joking, just herbal tea.
Coffee when you need it. If you need it to function, you do what you gotta do, you know, but yes, stick to your herbal teas. And so I want to add, when it comes to herbal tea, and even coffee, you want to double up on your water, because teas
Okay.
that are herbal teas, not so much as like the medicinal teas, but a lot of herbal teas are diuretics. But teas in general are actually diuretic. It don't matter if they're herbal, medicinal. So drinking more water, and also coffee as well. You want to increase your water intake when you're drinking these non-water things. Also, when it comes to water, so here's the answer. So ding, 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 ding. Everybody's good. So that, see, number one was kind of like a both one. That was tricky. All right. And so when it comes to, I will say something about water. So some people are just funny about water, but if you want to do things like alkaline your water, you could put like limes in your water, fresh limes or lemons and oranges, or other fruits, pineapple, doing lots of fruits and vegetables that are high in water. So cucumbers, pineapple, watermelon, all those fruits that are in season, you know, here, right? So, and then you can drink coconut water. Drinking coconut water is actually very beneficial for you in general, because it's living water. And it also has high amounts of good sodium. And so instead of drinking, so if we'll talk about that even like during labor, coconut water during labor is actually really beneficial. It's just like if you're running a marathon, because labor is a marathon. So if you're running a marathon, drinking coconut water is actually better for you than drinking something like Gatorade or Powerade, like an energy drink. So same too is what you would do during your pregnancy and labor. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and am I still recording is the question. Y'all can still see me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so as we continue, we're talking about omega-3 fatty acids. So when we were talking a lot about the fish, the nuts and seeds, all of that, legumes, everything that we're talking about when it comes to that, legumes and beans, all of those have very key nutrients, and that is primarily omega-3 fatty acids. And so we don't just want the omega-3s, we want the omega-3, 6, 9. But the omega-3s just means like that's what they're including that, right? So these are branches, and I ain't gonna get in biology because I don't even remember all that, but at the end of the day, the body needs the way that these things, they're building blocks. There you go, that's what it is. So they're building blocks. These are key fatty nutrients that your body needs to create the building blocks that your baby needs. So, but in general, we need these things. These things are building blocks for key proteins that our body needs to have healthy hair, skin, and nails, all of that, right? So just as much as our body needs that, that's why often throughout pregnancy, if women aren't having good nutrition, then their skin, nails, hair start becoming brittle and breaking. And a lot of that is due to not having enough proteins. And so those those good fats. So a lot of vitamin E, and then that's the omega-3 fatty acids and all of that. That's why when it comes to postpartum, a lot of moms experience postpartum shedding with their hair. They say that if you're having a girl, then sometimes your skin or your nails become brittle. They say this is old wives stuff that I like to say, but some of it's not true, y'all. So they say like, you know, you're having a girl because she take your beauty from you. That's such a terrible thing to say about having a girl, but they tend to say like, when you're having a girl, your skin starts to break out, the hair becomes a little bit more brittle, or your nails. And it's not because your baby's taking your beauty from you, but because the hormones that your girl, the female fetus has to start reproducing, because we are created with all of the eggs that we will ever have. So when you think about that on that level, that as this female fetus is being created, so too are the generations and generations being created as well. So all of those key things, those building blocks that make her a female child, that gives her the ability and opportunity to reproduce one day, those are being built inside of her as she is building. So I want to lean from that old wise saying of your girls take your beauty from you, but that she is building a nation inside of you. That's powerful. So you have to remember that all those key things that you need as a woman, that those key things that build your beauty as a woman, your baby needs that extra support too. And that's whether you're having a girl or a boy, but I wanted to add that because we need to change this narrative. So what does it do? Omega-3 fatty acids are essential for the healthy development of the fetus's brain and eyes, and all of it, right? The baby needs to have everything that it needs, those building blocks, like I said. So just as proteins that we learn in science, you know, that proteins are building blocks to your body. They build your hair, they build your skin, they build all of these things. That's what you need to build a healthy baby. Increasing these omega-3 fatty acids through the right types of food, and even taking like a multivitamin that has omega-3s in there, omega-369, you know. Okay, can you see me? Am I frozen? We good?
I can see you.
Okay, it just has on. Okay, so you know, and taking a supplement or a vitamin, such as there's like a liquid supplement that you could take if you don't eat meat or fish. Like, so just because you might eat meat, maybe you don't eat fish, or if somebody is allergic to fish, I just want to be clear about that, then you could take a non-fish omega-369 supplement to help your body throughout your pregnancy. So if you are allergic to fish or something, then I do want to be mindful of that. So fish would be a really good way to increase that, such as salmon, good sources of like mackerel, tuna, sardines. Sardines is a really good one. I used to be like, sardines, but then in Ghana, we eat sardines all the time. And I was like, oh, not that bad. I don't know, when I was a kid, I thought sardines was just, I don't know. You know, lots of nuts and seeds, as I mentioned earlier. All of these things have really great nutrients that are beneficial. So here it mentions that they can help lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation and lower risk of heart disease, which is very true. And those are very important things, because inflammation around your body tells you that there might be something wrong. And so when later in pregnancy, parts of our bodies start to become more inflamed, right? So the ankles and the hands and your face throughout pregnancy, all of that inflammation says that something needs to be protected. So when your ankles and knees and like legs and stuff start getting inflamed, when you start having more swelling, that's what inflammation is. So more swelling in those areas, thus because like all of this increased circulation that's happening in your body. However, you want to prevent that as much as possible. And if that does tend to happen, it doesn't automatically mean that something is wrong. And also immediately after women give birth or people give birth, the inflammation tends to go down. So, but those can be very big markers when it comes to early signs signs of preeclampsia or anything like that. So those are things you want to be mindful of. It is normal when you're standing and all of that, because of the increased fluids in your body, that your feet, you start getting a little spreading, right? Feet, hands, face. Those things are normal because your body, your blood volume is increasing. So those types of swelling, inflammation, increase, spreading, that's normal. But when it becomes more alarming and when it's like very, very puffy and you feel like, ooh, this is absolutely not normal, you want to pay attention to that. So increasing those really key building blocks will help eliminate those things, and also your heart health. As your womb is growing, your heart increases. Your heart and your womb are connected. So your heart is having to pump way more blood than it was accustomed to previous to being pregnant. And so that is why the heart tends to have a little more stress around it. And also your heart size doubles in pregnancy. So having good heart health is very important. The cognitive function and memory, you already know pregnancy brain is a real thing. And so increasing nuts and seeds, especially walnuts. Walnuts are really great for memory and brain function, and not only in the pregnant person, but also in the infant or in the development of the fetus, right? And so lots of great sources mentioned, as we mentioned before, fatty fishes, salmon, flaxseed, chia seeds, almonds, walnuts, all of that are really good. So here we go. Let's talk about where you can get these things from, mentioned before. Those are all high, and also getting a supplement would be good if you need to. And so if you go to like a health food store and getting like a vitamin E supplement or omega-3 6-9 supplement, really great. But also increasing your nuts and seeds, beans, flax oils, chia, as I mentioned, seaweed, nori, dulce, all those are great. Mentioned earlier, sea moss, so those are all really great. So here, a very important note that the body doesn't naturally produce omega-3s on its own. So it's important for you to get it through your excuse me, y'all, the nutrition. I saw it coming. Okay. Oops. All right, and so calcium. Now, calcium is the thing that women need the most. And it is also something that has a high misconception in how we get it, okay? And so one thing that I want to even talk about previous to pregnancy is that in the case that women have experienced or have been on birth control for a long period of time, that's one thing that people don't talk about, is that, calcium is your vitamin D, right? Those are things that vitamin D is a nutrient, a supplement, nutrient, vitamin that we need as people, as human beings, in order to survive, that we actually get depleted the most and the quickest, especially as melanated people. Black women have the lowest numbers of vitamin D globally, outside of Africa. So when they're in Africa and they're in warmer climate areas, the vitamin D levels are fine. But when they're out in the West and they're in colder climates, the vitamin D levels deplete so quickly. And so it tends to add to feeling lethargic, extremely tired, anemia, even the fatigue, depression, all of these things that people don't realize really linked to the lack of calcium and the lack of vitamin D and all of that we need in our bodies, right? So another a big form of calcium that people like to say dairy, but actually, what's that going with that one? Calcium can be found, so calcium can be in higher amounts actually found in greens, particularly moringa, as I mentioned earlier. Moringa has like multiple times more calcium in it. And moringa, if you're not familiar, it is a plant that is grown primarily in tropical areas. Now you can get access to moringa anywhere, but moringa is a superfood that people in tropical areas have been using since the beginning of time, that it's a multivitamin. So you can get everything that your body needs in order to survive, almost, can be found in moringa, and particularly these really key nutrients and that our bodies need. So green leafy vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, all of these things are really great. But if you're going to supplement, I would definitely move towards moringa as opposed to like taking a vitamin D supplement, because doctors will give vitamin D supplements out like they candy. But but a lot of people don't realize that having had been on birth control for extended periods of time, they say after 3 years, that's why birth control does, like when they put you on birth control, they usually be like, okay, well, usually you might switch it up after 3 years, but that's not always, right? It's because the birth control mimics being pregnant. And in both experiences, whether birth control or being pregnant, the increase of the hormones depletes your calcium directly from your bones and your teeth. So when you think about your teeth bleeding or having teeth issues, dental issues throughout pregnancy, that's because the calcium is literally being pulled out from every part of your skeletal system. And so increasing those things is very key, because the calcium goes straight to the baby. It's going to build that baby's bones. And so again, if you've had experience of being on birth control for an extended period of time, it can exacerbate the depletion of calcium and vitamin D levels during pregnancy. I mention that because people don't talk about that. and I don't think people talk about it enough to where they acknowledge that there's a link to this depletion in calcium to things like depression, pregnancy depression, and postpartum depression. And so the calcium does affect, like the vitamin D levels do affect your cognitive abilities and neurological stuff, right? And so all those things are connected. Simply increasing the greens and all that is a great idea. If you do eat dairy, go ahead and increase your dairy. However, there's more calcium found in the greens and in maybe a bit more like tofu or soy-based products, not too much, right? Not too much because of the high amounts of estrogen in soy-based products, but more of that would be more beneficial than how your body processes the calcium in dairy. Another one is going outside. You never think about how simple that is, but being out in the sun, directly under the sun for at least 15 minutes a day increases your vitamin D levels so much. And so when we're in these areas that are colder areas for longer periods of time throughout the year, it really doesn't help. It actually makes it very difficult. And those increase the levels of depression and all of that. And so I think that calcium is one of those things that definitely needs to be talked about, because having higher levels of vitamin D are key factors in your prenatal health and your women's health in general. And so if you find that like your bones feel tired, or you feeling very sore in your bones, or if you're bleeding or having any gum issues throughout pregnancy, then that might give you clues in your body that your calcium is being depleted at a higher level. And so you want to just increase those. If you're in Ghana, one way to do that, or many ways to do that nutritionally, are contumre, so eating contumre, which is delicious here. But if you're not in Ghana, eating kale, greens, just get in some collard greens, like things like that. So going back to those traditional foods will increase those things for you. Eggs and all of that is really good for you. However, the amount that you get from greens is way more than some of the other things that we get it in. Any questions around that? All right, vitamin B12. Now, this is a really good one as well. So the thing about vitamin B12 is that this is something that your body needs at all times, and it's so hard because your body doesn't naturally produce vitamin B. And so, but it's something that your body needs. And so what they have found, even without being pregnant, right? What they have found is vitamin B is linked to people's body's ability to burn fat in order to have energy and all these things. And so a big issue with vitamin B12 is that people who are dealing with any type of malnutrition, particularly just malnutrition and like they don't eat well, but also those who have gone just strict plant-based have a hard time getting vitamin B because it is not found easily in certain foods that people eat, right? And so if you do eat fish and chicken and also like beef or anything like that, that has high levels of vitamin B12, but you can just take vitamin B12 supplements. Those who do so tend to see a huge increase in their energy levels. Taking vitamin B12 sublingually, so underneath the tongue, there's supplements that you could get and they put it underneath the tongue. That tends to have better results. And then the primary best way to take vitamin B12 is the shots. Is something that people, when they go get the IVs and all of that, they take the vitamin B12 shots. They found that it contributes to people being able to burn fat and lose weight. But during pregnancy, that's not your primary goal. And so just making sure that you're getting the B vitamins in the foods that you eat, and you can also take B vitamin supplements. Another one is nutritional yeast. Getting lots of B vitamins through like nutritional yeast is really good. Again, if you're going to lean towards soy-based products like tofu or soy milk, that's not terrible. However, getting the cleanest forms of soy are best option, and also not eating a lot of soy because soy has high levels of estrogens, and your body's already doing a lot with hormones. So you just want to be mindful of that. Anything else? Okay. All right, so now we're going to do an activity. Okay, so we all mentioned that we like food. I mean, food is delicious. So one thing that might be difficult during pregnancy is meal planning, especially if you have a fast-paced lifestyle, or if you move from a fast-paced lifestyle and then ended up pregnant. Being able to plan out your meals can be a hassle. And if you have other children, or if you live alone, or if you don't have like a large community of folks to help you, it can be very difficult. And that's during pregnancy or any time in your life. So the key thing is to make your meal planning simple. Simplify your meal planning throughout the week so that you can get the things that you need and not have to go lean towards eating fast food as often, right? And so making sure that all the things that we spoke about today, eating lots of green leafy vegetables, having a good choice in protein, and also having, so when you say low fat dairy now, so you could do, yeah, right, it says if only dairy is a part of your diet. So increasing your vitamin C levels elsewhere is fine too, but having your dairy, if you eat dairy, or your plant-based dairy options are still very much doable. Avocados is like life, right? So avocados, anything shaped like a womb, avocados, mangoes, all of those things are so good for you. Your whole grains And then, of course, avoiding processed foods. So does anybody want to give us a sample meal plan, a simple meal that's their go-to? Anyone want to share? What is like, you hit all these things and it is delicious. Anybody? No, it's fine.
I don't really. I was going to say I don't really have like what I try to do is add some like good things to my food, if that makes sense. So for example, if we're having, I don't know, rice and chicken, I might make a salad to go with it, or I might have fruit for dessert as opposed to banana bread, or I'll have like a moringa tea with like some ginger first thing in the morning. So yeah, so I don't know if I've got a meal, but I try and add good things to my meal. So like I might add like an avocado to my toast, or I'm going to try and increase the whole grains because I do eat a lot of white rice.
Yeah.
But I will try some of the other things going forward, because we do have a lot of rice in the house.
Yeah.
So I might switch my rice to brown rice.
I understand. Yeah.
And some brown bread. Yeah.
Okay. And here, like, so with the white rice, that is such a staple here, right? However, if in general, your diet is pretty flexible otherwise, and white rice is the thing, the starchy white thing that you eat, it's fine. Like, it's not gonna hurt you. It really won't. But if you do, I try to eat the local brown rice as often too. I just at least keep it in the house, so when I want some, then it's there. That's a really good option as well. I love it. I love their brown rice here as opposed to the one in America.
Where do you get yours from? The brown rice,
You can get it from the market, but I got mine from from Malcolm.
Malcolm, okay. I'll try.
But markets
I buy like the imported one, and it's just so expensive. It's just almost not sane to buy it.
And
so yeah, we'll try.
The local brown rice is so nice. I love it. I love it so much better than the one we have in the West. But I think that's a really good statement to make, that you just incorporate healthier things in the food that you already eat. I think that's great. I love like smoothies, and I love to just add like just having that in between your day is really good. And then when you put your smoothie, just put as much stuff as you can in there. That's what I like to do. Just throw as much good stuff in the smoothie so you had it at least once in the day. But planning your meal, just to say, again, if you just say, okay, well, I'm going to meal prep. If you have a weekend and you have to just get your meal prep done, then that's better than nothing at all. And if you only meal prep one meal, like, so if you say, okay, well, I'm meal prepping dinner, then you've at least done that. Just making things a bit easier for you on a daily basis is going to be good, because you really want to simplify your life. I don't believe in making things complicated, and I am a 30-minute or less meal person if I can help it. I really don't like to be standing in kitchens for hours, but I love to cook. Like, so that's the thing. Like, so I like to make it easily and accessible instead of making things like too difficult. So if you're lucky, and I would say I'm lucky, if you're lucky, then you have like a mother-in-law who can cook delicious local food, then that's great. But if you don't necessarily have that extra support around everyone, as much as you would like, then I would say simplifying your meals is going to be very important, and just making sure that you get those things. In the West, and that's for Ashley since she's in the West, Smoothie King, I don't know if there's a Smoothie King in your area, but they might, I don't know, but Smoothie King has some really, really great vegan ones, because some of the other ones got too much sugar and stuff, but their vegan ones, their vegan smoothies don't have too much sugar. They actually use dates for the one that I like, which is the vegan dark chocolate smoothie. It's like dark chocolate banana smoothie. And you get that they use dates instead of sugar. And they have a prenatal vitamin that you could add the prenatal to it. And then you can add like a B vitamin if you want, whatever. And so if you're just like on the go, or you just really need something, a meal, and just a good meal replacer that you don't necessarily like have time, then that's a really good option. Another really great supplement option is Just Move supplements. Just Move. That's what it's called, Just Move. Yeah. So and they have vegan protein, and they're all like these really delicious. It's a Black-owned company, and all of them are really safe for pregnancy, doesn't have any extra crap in it, and they're really delicious. Those are my go-tos that I give moms to get, and so that you're getting your protein. You're getting all these great nutrients and vitamins and stuff. The Just Move has amazing things in it, and it doesn't have any of the crap, and there's a lot of great flavors. So those are the things that are my go-to for my mamas in the US. And I would just say doing that, because the key is that you really need to have like good amounts of all the good stuff, right? So simple, get a smoothie in, it's always nice. All right, so we have here some really fun recipes for smoothies, as we mentioned in smoothies. So we have some ones that you can do at home here. And I would again say you can add in a protein supplement. Again, Just Move is my go-to. By Kiera Lachey and her family. And so that's my go-to, and you can add it to any of these, or you could keep these recipes as you see them. Green Tings and Peanut Butter Shake. And we want to thank Jamila for these recipes. They look delicious.
Yes.
They look delicious. And again, you're going to get the notebook from me. You'll get a PDF, and you can go get it printed. And there's my is it Urban Mama Smoothie that I have there as well. All right, so unfortunately, we're coming to the end. I don't know if everybody else feels that way. Y'all might be tired and hungry and whatever else. So, so in closing, and we're gonna open it up for questions. Optimal nutrition and supplement intake during pregnancy is crucial and so important for the health and development of both the mother and the baby, or the birth, the person and the baby. The key nutrients such as folic acid or folates, iron, potassium, magnesium, vitamin B12, calcium, omega-3 fatty acids are just a few, but they play a vital role in ensuring a healthy pregnancy. Planning your meals in advance and taking smart food choices can help you meet your nutritional needs and ensure that you're getting all the necessary vitamins and minerals. Remember, a healthy pregnancy begins with a healthy diet. And that is just the truth. That pretty much sums it up. But what I want to share finally is just saying, nutrition is key to a healthy life. And so as you are incorporating these things into your life, it's creating a lifestyle, and it will truly make it easier for you in your postpartum healing experience, and also as you raise your child and the nutritional development of your babies. And so one thing that we found, that the more diversity that a mom has in her diet when she is pregnant, it actually helps increasing the less pickiness, as they say, right? Making the baby like less picky in certain foods as well. And then when you get into your postpartum period, if you're choosing to breastfeed, having the same amount of nutrition, just increasing it is going to be key. And so just remember that having at least an extra 300 calories in your daily intake is very good for the benefits of having your baby. And so we are finished with our presentation today, and I'm going to open the floor for questions. So thank you so much for your time, energy, and commitment to your pregnancy experience, your prenatal health, and I look forward to serving you moving forward. I'm going to stop recording.